G'day there guys, Markee here, back at it again with another episode of I Don't Work Here Lady. Now if you don't work here lady, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and enjoy today's bloody good content. Posted by user Eric Davis 1240214, titled, Sorry Replacement, I'm Not Training You. This happened over 18 years ago, but I remember it like yesterday. I'd worked for a law firm in a clerical role for about 3 years. Though not a lawyer, I ended up doing a lot of work that lawyers normally handled, but not for lawyer pay. Anyway, I'd landed my dream job in another field. More interesting, better hours, better benefits, double the pay. I hit the jackpot, and was on my second from last day at the law firm, having respectfully given and honoured my 2 weeks' notice. As it happened, I needed to take an extended lunch break one day to handle some business related to my pending new job. I arranged it ahead of time and even came in 2 hours early to make sure all my work was completed on time. Damn, I was too conscientious. Anyway, my lunch business took me longer than expected, and I returned about an hour later than planned. No big deal, right? I had very little left to do, and only 2 more days at that job anyway. Nope. The HR manager found me as I got to my desk, called me to her office, and fired me on the spot. I managed not to smile and thank her, because I was thrilled to have an extra couple of days off before heading to my new position. I had a little spring in my step as I walked to my desk to pack up my stuff. I can neither confirm nor deny that I was whistling a happy tune. In truth, there was only one thing I still had needed to do on my final 2 days. Though not a lawyer, I essentially took care of all the estate planning clients, wills, advance medical directives, and such. I would take all of the info from the clients, generate all the forms, check for compliance with all the laws, and hand it to the attorney. He would skim it, sign it, and bill his hourly rates for the hours I worked. It was a cash cow for the firm, because I made next to nothing. Anyway, though I was good at the work, the files were rather a mess. Let's just say my system worked for me, but it was eclectic. As I was packing my desk, I left them piled in a box on the floor. Moments before I was preparing to walk out there for the last time, the young attorney, yes, attorney, who had been assigned to take over the part of my work, came up to my desk. He said, HR manager told me to come find you, and you have to show me the estate planning files. She said you'd showed me what I need to do. I had the incredible pleasure of being able to look at him and say with the most sincere and innocent tone, I'm sorry, I don't work here. Then I pointed at the pile of files and suggested HR manager would have to help him. Then I picked up my personal effects and walked away. And, just as sweet as could be, poked my head into the HR manager's office on my way out to assure her that there were no hard feelings, and to let her know that young attorney was probably going to be looking for her. As a paralegal, I can tell you they had you doing paralegal work and not billing your hours, so not earning paralegal pay. Yes, you definitely were a cash cow for that firm, and yet they still treated you like crap. They were mad to lose you. They should have treated you better, promoted you to a paralegal, and given you paralegal pay. It's called creating a career path for people worth being retained. I hope the partners had it out with that HR manager. She was not managing that form correctly. Lol, probably so. They paid me $20 an hour and billed my time at $95. That was early 2000s. It was always just a stop along the way for me. I didn't want to stay, but a tiny bit of decent treatment would have gone a long way. Hell, I might have even trained my replacement after being fired. Posted by user Ligamentary, titled, You don't work here lady. Woman tries to use our store as her own Etsy shop. I worked in a large department store back before there was Etsy or any similar service for artists to open up independent shops. I worked in the back office administration piece, not out on the floor. One day, one of the checkout girls called me over and said they were trying to scan a lady out, but one of her items didn't have a barcode. I figured maybe it had been stuck on somewhere strange, but checked it out and I didn't see anything. In fact, I didn't even recognize the item when I looked to see where I could find a second one to scan, and I knew the store pretty well. It was an absurdly hideous piece of almost homemade-looking costume jewelry, not like anything we offered. I thought maybe we had a new supplier I was unaware of, so looked at the tag, and lo and behold, it was a hand-drawn price tag, so definitely not ours. There were a lot of shops in the area, so I figured someone bought it nearby and it slipped out of their bag, or they set it down by accident, and this customer assumed we were selling it because of the price tag. I figured whoever left it would be back to look for it soon. It was way overpriced, $80 for the one necklace. So, brought it to the customer service and returned to business as usual of counting the minutes to close and regretting my life choices. But as the day marched on, a few more people appeared with similar stuff, some more jewelry mostly. One with a sweater that was actually a sweater we did sell, but with huge, garish rhinestones added on that were definitely not a SKU that we offered. People kept coming to check out with lots of things we actually sold, like makeup mirrors, handbags, and shoes, but all with unnecessary rhinestones, sequins, and beads glued on that definitely didn't come from us or the original manufacturer. So, finally, the manager just had staff do a sweep of the store and collect anything with rhinestones on it, or anything with a handmade price tag, and put them in the lost and found. Though, we did wonder how someone's personal belongings would become scattered all throughout the store, and didn't think they could have really been accidentally lost. Our working theory was that someone got in a fight with their shopping companion and did it out of spite. Like, maybe a couple broke up, or a sibling rivalry, or something. But we had resigned ourselves to the fact that we'd never know. Our lost and found was a single basket about the size of a TSA security bin at the airport, and there was so much of this stuff that it overflowed past the top. So after a couple of days, we dumped it all in the trash. A few days after that, a middle-aged woman comes in decked out head to toe in sequins and glitter and rhinestones with neon makeup like a 6th grader would wear to their first school dance, and asked to speak to the person in charge, identifying herself as one of your partners. I knew we were about to get some answers to the other day's mystery. I stopped all my work. I was ready to hear how and why she ended up leaving half her wardrobe scattered around, and why anyone would voluntarily dress like that after 40. So I listened to her going at it with customer service, and it became clear that she had bought things here, maybe, unclear if she even paid for them or not, or if she'd just used things from here without even paying for them. She then bedazzled them, either by purchasing them or covertly bedazzling in the store without buying the items. We never did find out which. She then put them back on the shelves and now expected to collect a check after they were purchased at an upsell price that she had added on with her own handmade price tag. Apparently, she had done this with a few stores and was going around with business cards claiming her designs. Bedazzled versions of department store products were sold in big department stores like Karen's Fab Designs, as seen on the shelf of Macy's, Nordstrom's, JCPenney, and more. The manager explained that this was not a consignment store, and she couldn't just leave altered products here for people to buy and expect to split the money with us. She was sure we must just not understand that she had improved the items with rhinestones, thereby making them more valuable, and was shocked when the realization set in that we understood what she was saying, but still didn't want her doing it. She was irate, offended, threatened to break off the partnership that we did not want and did not know we had, and eventually demanded the stuff back. The most senior manager on the floor had come over by this point, not because she had asked to speak to the person in charge, but because she was causing a scene and none of us was sure what to do about being on her business card. Plus, everyone, regardless of seniority, was equally curious about the rhinestones mystery. And he explained that we had gotten rid of the stuff because she didn't bother to explain this arrangement to any of us, and we aren't a pawn shop where you can hawk personal goods. A major argument ensued. She gave us two choices: go through the dumpster and salvage the things you threw out, or refund me the adjusted, red upcharged, cost of the items you threw out. The manager then gave her 2 choices: leave or be escorted out by security. The manager did worry that there could be repercussions for throwing out all her stuff, since technically corporate policy was that we were supposed to hang on to lost and found items for several business days. So he offered her some coupons to end things on a good note. She didn't take them and screamed at us that we needed to replace everything and pay for new material to re-bedazzle them. At that point, the manager more flatly insisted she leave. She didn't. Security had to escort her out. To our total shock, she kept telling security she worked here, and really confused them because they had never seen her, so weren't sure if it was because she was crazy or if it was because she was from corporate, i.e. someone who could fire them. We had to explain to security and her that in fact she did not work here and this partnership was non-existent. Again, explaining that she couldn't sell her own products here in our department store. She kept saying, "We can negotiate you a higher cut. That was just my starting offer." So after a bit, the manager just gave up explaining and stopped engaging with her. She tried to come in every day for a week after that, to the point that we even had a security guard stand right near the door to redirect her before she could even step over the threshold. She got in one more time through the fire door, with which she set an alarm off, and we had to evacuate the store. So we let her know loud and clear that the next time the police would handle her. I guess some other stores had already made good on that promise, so she stopped coming. But she kept doing this elsewhere around town for several weeks until she was blacklisted by every store, from the highest end boutiques to the dollar store. I don't know if she didn't understand how stores worked, or just didn't care, but she really created a lot of extra work for us. I will say this: many people were coming to the register to purchase her items, and that department chain is bankrupt now. So she probably has a lucrative Etsy-type store and the last laugh. I remember seeing something like this happen at a Target near my house, before the store was shut down, where these girls were going about trying to sell their homemade makeup kits and asking every woman that walked by, myself included, but I don't wear makeup due to having sensitive skin, if we would buy their makeup for the price of $60. We all said no since it was overpriced, and because they were hanging out right next to the makeup department too, and we can clearly see the same makeup kits on the shelves directly behind them. They kept trying to convince all the women to buy their stuff until a different woman approached and everyone quickly dispersed. The girls tried to sell it to her, only to realize that she was one of the managers of the store. She probably just arrived, didn't clock in yet, because security arrived a few seconds later and removed the 2 girls from the store. Posted by user The Quarantinian, titled, "Lady is entitled to my assistance, warning, blood." Hospital food isn't crunchy. For whatever reason, none of it has a good satisfying crunch. The crunchiest thing they seem to have is Raisin Bran, and that just doesn't do the trick. And after a week of being held captive by tubes and wires, I was ready for food that was actually satisfying to chew. Finally discharged, I stopped off at a humongo chain grocery store for my craving. Don't judge me, but all I wanted was a bowl of corn checks and freezing ice-cold milk. Handbasket containing my crunchy treat, I was rifling through the milk section looking for the coldest jug with the latest expiration date they had. Yes, at most you can get milk that is only 2 days fresher than the jugs at the front, but I just got out of the hospital, so I was feeling really picky. When she lit up my life exactly the same way that a swarm of locusts blots out the sun. She was wearing some kind of dark, expensive-looking pants and a white, bedazzling white, over-boraxed silk blouse with draping folds that just screamed, "I have more money than you." I was bending over, head stuck in the cooler, and I could hear her talking about how we were out of some organic, grass-fed, free-range, no-hormone, royal cows only that have never seen a poor person, milk. I think this stuff sells for around $12 a gallon, and big grocery stores keep all of that stuff in their pretentious section, where freezers are filled with $10 microwave dinners, $6 designer chips, and tiny cans of artisanal spring water carbonated with mermaid farts. At any rate, I'm not in that section. I don't work there, I don't care about her, so I ignore her. Big mistake, on her part. Suddenly, I have a snake hissing in my ear the words, "You will look at me while I'm talking to you," and my wrist is grabbed and pulled. Now, I had just been released from a week at the hospital where I was on, amongst other things, a heparin drip, blood thinner, constantly fed through an IV tube which had been taped to my wrist, exactly where she now was grabbing me. The tube had been taped down, and while I ripped off the bandages before I left the hospital room, there was still some significant sticky tape gunk in the area. Whatever that stuff is, it usually takes 3 showers and a bottle of alcohol to get rid of all the sticky. What else might stick to tape residue? How about a tramp's fingers? She grabbed my wrist and yanked my arm up, but her fingers happened to stick to the skin a bit, resulting in 2 things. The sensation for her getting some pine sap on her skin, and my skin being twisted far more than she expected. Not that she would have cared anyway. The twisting and pulling of the skin released a bit of blood from the IV site. Just a couple of drops, not really a big deal. But enough so that when she felt the sticky gunk on her fingers, she instinctively wiped her hand on her sleeve, leaving a small trail of blood on that field of spotless white. You know how some people pass out at the sight of blood? I mean, I don't, but she sure did. She dropped like her facade of friendliness if her triple-whipped iced spiced happy no-fat soy mocha at Starbucks isn't served on a silver tray balanced on the back of a unicorn. And that's when the staff started to run up. Typical shouts of what happened. Call an ambulance followed, with Milady regaining consciousness within a minute or so and starting to scream about how I, the store employee, had thrown blood on her, clawing at her blouse, and going into absolute hysterics. Store security had arrived and was glaring at me menacingly, demanding to know what had happened. Fortunately, I had an ace just a few inches up my sleeve, an ace which I played as I said, "This lady grabbed me and it really hurt." Thing about heparin is that it is the only drug that can go into that specific IV site. I needed many other IVs in the hospital, so I had another IV site just a few inches up my arm where they had been injecting all kinds of other things, and that site looked ugly. A bruise the size of a silver dollar, brown and yellow and green, as if a parrot had binged on tricks and Lucky Charms and then threw up in the ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese. Previously hidden under my sleeve, I made sure it wasn't hidden now, and displayed that bruise of honor like a middle-aged man displays a trophy yoga instructor in his convertible. She grabbed my arm because I wasn't paying attention to her, and yanked. She left this bruise, and it really hurts. That, coupled with the hospital armband that I hadn't yet cut from my wrist, seemed to be all that I needed to turn the tide of opinion to my favor. I gave a statement to the police who had eventually arrived, told them I wanted to press charges, got my milk, and headed for the door. A few days later, I received a call from a detective or a prosecutor or somebody, and they told me that they had come to a plea agreement of some kind fairly quickly, and if I wanted to write out a victim impact statement, to have it in within a week. I told them that as long as something went onto her record, I was fine. The crunch was indeed satisfying. Posted by user FireRed91, titled, "A Karen Insisting I'm Her Lyft Driver." For context, I have been a Lyft driver for 4 years, but haven't since this situation started. I don't have my amp in the window, but I still have the sticker on the car. I have an online order for pickup at Walmart for supplies for the incoming hurricane. So I'm driving into the parking lot and am searching for the pickup parking spots. I drive by the exit door, looking for these spots, when I see a woman eyeing my car as she walks out of the store. At the same time, a woman attempts to pull out and nearly hits me, but doesn't. As I start to move forward to continue my search, the woman stands next to my car, yelling and pointing at my car, then her saying, "You're looking for me." I vigorously shake my head no, pull away, and continue my search. After I found a cart guy in the parking lot, he told me they were back the way I came. Crap. So I drive back the way I came, and I can see the same woman standing by the exit, glaring at my car. I avoid eye contact, and finally find the pickup parking. I pull up and wait, eating a bit of my dinner while I do so. As I'm eating my mac and cheese, I hear someone angrily yell, "Are you not a Lyft driver?" from my passenger side. The same woman had walked 5 rows from the exit to track me down. She began yelling and gesturing at my sticker and asking, "Why aren't you picking me up?" I felt at this point that ignoring her would be less than ideal, so I rolled down my passenger window just enough. I looked her in the eye and said calmly, "Ma'am, I'm not working right now." She throws her hands in the air, looks around wildly and says, "Give me a ride." I told her I am not her Lyft driver and suggested she contact her driver through the app. She yells, "Well, fudging great. Where's my Lyft driver then?" I just quickly rolled the window back up as she stormed away. I feel like this shouldn't have to be said, but please double check your app with the Lyft and Uber you're getting into, and don't stalk down strangers in their cars. Posted by user JazzSinger1187, titled, "It's Fun to Be Bilingual." So I had been reading many of the Idontworkherelady posts, and it caused me to think about what I would do if I were the victim. But I really never expected it would actually happen. But it did, and luckily I was prepared. Backstory: I am a 69-year-old US Army retiree who had served much of his career in Germany and speak German almost as well as I speak English. Due to good genes, I look about 10 years younger than I really am. In the small tourist community that I live in, there are a lot of senior citizens like myself who live here year-round, and many have part-time jobs at our local stores, so it isn't unusual to find an older person working in one of those stores. During the summer, we get a lot of tourists with more than a few Karens and Kevins. So I am at the local supermarket yesterday, shopping in the soup aisle, and a nice vertically challenged, short woman about my age was trying as hard as she could to get an item off the top shelf. I said, "Here, let me help," and reached up and got it for her. She thanked me, I said, "No problem," and she walked off toward the checkout. I then proceeded to look at the various cans of soup, trying to decide which ones I would get. Then I heard it. The sound I had heard about, but as of yet, never personally experienced. "Excuse me?" I turned around, and there she was, a stereotypical Karen, and, based on how she was dressed, a summer tourist. Memories of the many Karen stories I had read flashed through my brain, and the silly idea I had when reading them clicked in. "Entschuldigung," German for "excuse me." Karen says, "Where are the some products?" "Entschuldigung, ich kann Englisch nicht verstehen." German for "excuse me, I do not understand English." She looked at me like she wanted to kill me. "What's wrong with you? This is America. Speak English." "Was ist los mit Sie? Was ist sein Problem?" German for "What's wrong with you? What's your problem?" She turned and angrily stomped away. I finished my shopping and went to the self-checkout. She was in line at one of the registers with a clerk. I paid the machine for my things and bagged them, and as I walked by the lane she was in, I said to her in a loud and clear New England accented English, "Have a nice day, lady," and left the store. Being bilingual can be fun. Posted by user Tokyo Diamond, titled, "Sir, I live here. Please go away." First off, I am so glad I finally found someone to tell all my weird, strange, and totally crazy stories on. I love it here. Okay, so on to the story. I live in a mobile home on property that has been passed down for generations. It belongs to my great-grandma, my grandma, and now my mama. So if something was to happen to my mama, the land would go to my brother and I. But since he already has a house with one of my favorite sis-in-laws, the land and house would belong to me. So me and my parents were talking one day, and I mentioned how I was craving some peaches. I usually get them in a jar filled with some sweet juice. Yummy. And Mama said that that's something she's wanted to get for a while, some peach trees. So I got all excited and went to a co-op. If you don't know what a co-op is, it's a place you can get gardening tools, seeds, trees, plants, fishing gear, etc. It's like a mall for us country folks, lol. I get to the co-op and find the peach trees, call Mama, give her the price, and told her there was some plum trees available as well. So I get 1 plum tree and 1 peach tree. I get the plant food and some bricks and other stuff to decorate around it. I get home, and my dad asked if I could plant them because he had to go take a family friend to therapy. Fine enough, I grew up being a tomboy, so I know what I'm doing. I come out the house in my messy clothes, my gloves, and whatever else I need. Now, I already had the stuff laid out in the yard, knew where I was planting them and all, but something in my gut and spirit was throwing me off. You ever get the feeling that you were being watched? Yeah, I had that feeling. I look up and it's a white car driving by mighty slow. Okay, so what's not about to happen is my big ass getting kidnapped in broad daylight. No ma'am, no ham, no turkey, no bacon. Not today. For a female, I know how to take care of myself. I go into the house and get my knife that I keep for protection and stick it in my pocket. I should note that there is 2 entrances in our yard that are connected, so it's like you come in one entrance and can go out the other. I come outside, and this same car came back and pulled into our yard and went out the other way. Okay, now I'm creeped out, so I grab my phone and put 911 on speed dial. I've lived in this neighborhood my whole life, but I'm a homebody. I don't like going out that much. So after I put the phone on speed dial, I put it right next to me on my small table and get started digging my holes for our trees. Soon as I'm done digging, I grab the plant food and the trees, fix them up real nice and straight, and put the dirt back over. Now it's time for me to decorate. My favorite part. I grab my bricks and everything else, and not even 5 minutes of me starting, the same damn car is driving by. But this time it came into the second entrance and pulled all the way into the yard and stopped. Some tall, lanky guy steps out and says, "How much?" Huh? "How much do you charge to do this? I like the work you did. I'm looking for someone to do a job like this." So I'm looking at him all confused and I'm saying, "I'm sorry, sir, but I don't do this for work. I'm just planting in the yard." He gives me a side eye and says, "How do you not do this for work? Clearly the owner of this house paid you to do it. Just give me an estimate. A man like you can do the work." Okay, I know I'm a damn tomboy, but how in the hell do you mistake a female with big titties, a fat ass, and thick thighs for a man? So I look at him all mad and say, 1, I am not a damn man. 2, I don't do this for work. 3, this is my house and you are trespassing. Did you not see the no trespassing sign on the tree by the entrance? Big and black sign with big red letters. So now he's got this "I don't want to hear no excuse" attitude and says, "Look man, I just want a damn estimate. It's not that hard to do. Just come up with a price to do the yard work." Yep, right about now I am ticked to the highest level of pistivity. I remembered I had my phone already on speed dial, so I told him to either leave willingly or the police will be called. The whole time I already pressed dial. This fool really stood there for a second, completely stood out of the car and stood next to it and said, "No." Said somebody was going to hear about how I, who to him is still a man, won't give him service. Then asked this stupid question, "Where is my van or truck with my company name?" Yep, my level of pistivity is going higher. I'm giving the 911 operator my address, and when he said that, I screamed out, "Get your ass off my property. I told your Bear Rilla looking ass that this was my house and that I wasn't a man, bout to get your saggy body built like a pickle ass beat like a damn man if you don't leave." Mind you, I have my other hand in my pocket with my finger on the button of my knife if he tries something. The whole time, he's still standing there arguing with me. A few minutes go by and the police show up, and it just so happens to be a cop I've known since I was a kid. He was my big brother's chief when my brother was a policeman, knew my mama and daddy, and boy was I happy to see him. Soon as he stepped out and asked what happened, I couldn't get a word out before this maniac went ape crap crazy about how I, an employee to a gardening company, cursed at him, true, threatened him, also true, and assaulted him. Whoa now, false. Chief looked at me, at the house, and back at me, and said, "Baby girl, is that you?" I looked at him, took off my garden hat, showed my high afro puff, put my glasses on and said, "Yup, it's me, Chief." Dude's jaw dropped, then looked me up and down. Chief said, "This is a female, sir. She lives here in this house. I know her and her family very well. She doesn't work for a garden company. She and her parents just like to garden in their yard. You have been warned to leave this property because it is private property, and you refused. So now I have to arrest you. You better be glad she didn't assault you like you claim she did. Because for one, with this being their property, they have a right to defend themselves on this property if you're still on it. And two, this girl grew up watching wrestling and wrestled with my boys. She'd kick your ass. Okay, hands behind your back. I'll call for a tow company to come pick up your car." Meanwhile, I'm just standing there, big-ass grin on my face. When the chief was leaving, my dad pulled up and asked what happened. I told him the whole story, and he pressed charges because he was on our property. Oh, and now we have fresh peaches and plums that are so sweet, they've given me sugar bumps. Little tiny bumps that come up from eating something extremely sweet, and are very, very itchy, lol. Letting everyone know I am not a diabetic. I get tested every month. Why my phone keeps trying to say money instead of month? Must be another stimulus check coming. I've even switched doctors and still don't have diabetes. My doctor has told me that my case of sugar bumps is not severe because I stopped eating sweets like I used to as a child. I don't eat it all day every day. I drink my water, I eat my veggies and anything else. I usually only do sweets on the weekends, but now I only do it if I have a test for it. And on Friday, July 24th, I'm getting me a cheesecake and chowing down because I have a taste for it. Alright guys, that's where I'm going to end today's video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something that you didn't know before. If you haven't already, please do feel free to click that like button, as it really does help me in the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't already and you loved today's video, please feel free to subscribe. I would love it a lot. Also, big shout out to all my Patreon members and channel subscribers. You guys are all up on the screen right now. I love you. I love your faces. Also, I love seeing you guys all chatting down below in the comments. It brightens my day to see the stories that you guys share and just the kind words you guys always have for my videos, as well as everyone else in the videos. I love you too. But honestly, your ongoing support means the world to me, and I just love it so much that you guys are able to support a career for myself that I invest so much time into. And you guys honestly motivate me to work harder each and every day to put more love into the videos for you guys. If you guys have watched this far in the video and you haven't already subscribed on Patreon or become a channel member, that's cool, you don't have to, but there are links down below. You can donate any amount of money, pledge that any month, cancel whenever. I'm completely cool with it. It's just there for you to support me if you'd like to go the extra mile. And I'll go the extra mile for you guys by putting out new amazing content every single day. With that said guys, I really hope you have a good day, night, sleep, bath, time at work, whatever you're up to today. This has been Markee. I'll see you in the next amazing video. Bye.